I owe you a vote of thanks, all of you. You have given me 20 years of productive life. I retired 7 years ago, knowing that I had totally failed in my sciences teaching career to engage with the mathematicians in any of the schools I've been in. And here is my chance. I'm hoping to engage a little bit. And what I'm hoping to move on to is to offer you good folk a chance to look at some of the projects. I've been working on about 20 projects since I retired, and I've got another 13 years, as I was saying, and I plan to finish another batch. I've been working on these, and most of these have come up with something positive. Could I ask you to spend 30 seconds of my 8 minutes glancing through and seeing if there are any of those you would like to ask about? Have no fear, I will be talking about a couple that I have in mind. If I come over here, I can see hands going up. I hear a call for number 3. Angry girls. Angry girls, that's easy. Angry girls, right. So that's 300.
Somali kids teach numbers.
Somali kids teach numbers, right?
Tribal medicine.
Tribal medicine? That's dangerous, but we'll try it. Good, okay. Let's start at number 3 then. Rural Koza into physics coursework. I was last month visiting my grandchildren, that's what my wife thought, in Johannesburg, but in fact my friend has a beach cottage down in the Transkei, which is on the coast, close to where Nelson Mandela was born, and it's one of the poorest rural areas in South Africa. And I found a teacher training center that helps out local schools and runs a little model school in it. And I said, look, I'm doing this chess club in a church cafe. I'm also in London. I'm also recovering from having taught physics coursework, trying to get every child in class to do their own project. Not everybody does the resistance of the wire. And so I got them to do an experiment. Well, it was close to this. In fact, that means I don't have to take it apart. It's effectively a fishing rod with a string hanging from it and a stone that I found on the beach. Well, this came out of a skip here in London, but the stone on the beach I drilled a hole in because my friend had a masonry bit. And so I could hang it on the end and twist it. And if you turn it once, it swings back how many times? Let's call it twice. If you turn it 2 full circles, it swings back 4. If you turn it 3, you guess it's 6. And if you turn it 4, it goes 7. So I would then have had alpha, Wolfram alpha, I would have plotted the points and got, sadly, a straight line graph up to 6, and then a kink, and a straight line across to 7. Blunder. What I want is the best fit line, please, Conrad. Can you put this into alpha for next time I do this, if you're still here, Conrad? Seriously, I would like to see the best fit line, because the Transkei kids came up and I said, what do you think this says? They beat my North London kids that I've been drilling on this stuff for 25 years, and they beat the 2 little girls, 8 and 10, they both together said, it doesn't jump as much. And I thought that was a lovely description of what it does for that very last point where the straight line turns into the curve. My point is that those kids were crying out for physics coursework. They're crying out for somebody to share a bit of science with them. The other example is this one, which is number 2, in fact. I was given by the Spiring Company, who make these brilliant models. It's a plug for them. They deserve it. They're cracking good models, and they gave them to me for free, which is even better. I hung 8 or 10 of them on a piece of driftwood as a mobile, and we hung it up high in the African beehive hut. And the people who wanted this were the pre-prep teachers there, the preschool teachers there. Why did they want them? Because it's reds and blacks and whites, and you can get the ratios, you can play with the numbers, you can get the kids to count what's in water and CO2 and the rest, and the kids will get some idea of chemistry. That's not me talking. That's the preschool teachers in this desperately poor area. That was 3 I've dealt with. Somali kids teaching numbers from Mathematica. I did a little project in Bristol at a primary school, Millpond Primary. And the head said, our school is going really well, we're very, very happy, it's a centre of school, it's a troubled area, 60% of the kids are Somali, right from the war zone, no English, and we can't teach maths. Why am I not surprised? So I said, being a bit ambitious, well, give me a day with each class, and I took 4 classes. My friend Val, who's a programmer, we took 4 days, 4 classes, and on the 5th day I did science, similar to the coursework I've been playing, and it worked. And the maths worked. And how did the maths work? Very simple. On the internet, if you look up, you can count from 1 to 20 in Somali. So we got the Somali kids to teach the English-speaking kids, roughly English, it was other race groups. We got the Somali kids teaching the other kids to go from 1 to 20. And it worked like a charm, because for the first time, the Somalis were engaged. They were at home, and the other guys were from outside. That little bit of a twist just made the thing fly. And it was a 4-hour lesson, and at the end of every lesson, all 4 days, the question was asked, do we have to go home now? Tried a lot of your tricks. The kids were allowed to talk. If they were bored, they were allowed to go walk up at the back of the class. So I could see they were bored and think of something else. Any fool can do it, because if you've only got to teach him for 1 day, you can cycle through your 20 activities. If you've got to teach them for a year, you've got to be a real saint, and I am no longer trying to be a saint. The tribal angry girls. Yeah. We were told at the Bristol School, and both of us were told separately in case the thick one didn't take it on board, that there were some angry girls who were not going to do anything in these maths lessons. They were not going to go near. And the result was that I thought we got to do something about this, so we set them homework. And the homework was to go home and look up Wolfram demonstrations and find one that interested you and come back tomorrow. It didn't really work because I didn't see them tomorrow, but I got them into other classes. Come back tomorrow and tell the class what you have seen and done and learnt from the demonstration that you've chosen. And boy, were they all three there at 5 to 8 the next morning. No more angry girls. That was really lovely, and it stays deep in my heart as a good thing. Sorry, that's page 1. Page 2 is going to be 60 seconds because I'm going to ask you to do the same thing there. I put my Raspberry Pi in plug, but I'd love to see a mini Mathika inside it. I really, really squeally would like to see. Inside Model A, please, of the Raspberry Pi, so that the kids who are not online will use it. And those communities, can I go on to the last slide?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Well, let's spend 30 seconds here. Anything else that I could talk about here? Yeah, the Wolfram Holiday Schools are stunning. You get 150 bright kids, and you give them individual projects each, and you put them with the best of the world, and at the end of it, they go out and they teach everybody else for the rest of their careers. They teach the kind of research patterns that they learnt when they were young. You know how we all love the computer that we first met? If you do your first bit of school research at 12, 13, 14, then you will be a researcher for life. My theory. I rest my case. Any others? Louder again, please.
Open source, please.
Where have I got open source? Child to child. Yes, it's got to be viral. It's got to be child to child. We had 6 speakers before lunch saying to Conrad, please make Mathematica education something that one child can teach to another child. Then it goes viral. Then it works. Why was Harry Potter a success? Open source is it's got to be open source. If I discover something, when I started teaching computer science, they didn't know what to do with computers. They said, can you teach computer science? We just got our RISC network. And I wrote a 17-line art package. Got the kids to type in their 17 lines, which is the mouse controls and the rest and that and the color choices. And they could draw, on day 1 of their time in school, they could draw a map of the school with the program they'd written themselves. And you know who benefited most from that? Me. I'm still walking tall. Because I wrote something that was useful to other people. And it was wow. And many of the kids are still with me. They're now in their 30s and nearly 40. And they still come along to talk about not just the old days of computing, but what they're doing now. Anything else on that page? Saul, you're looking worried. I'm going to go on. And these are the people to answer your question, my friend. These are the teachers in the world. All we have to do is inspire those guys, and they will do the teaching for us. And I've left one off.
I may regret it. Mobile Silver Panthers.
That's me, mate. I'm mobile, I'm on pension, I'm responsible only to myself. I can do what the hell I like, and I give back time. I am so motivated because the remaining 30 years I have, Sol will kill me, the remaining 13 years I have will be full of even more good things than what we've achieved right now. And that, I thank you guys, and I thank Mathematica. Incidentally, I've left one thing off. I left one thing off, the biggest challenge of the lot, where most of the world's teachers are going to come from in the next 30 years. It's the favelas, that large number of cities with myriads of able kids living in the sewers, and you people are sitting here instead of out there teaching them. Come on, guys, let's go.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for putting up.